Welcome back, nerds, for another episode of Between Nerds. This is actually our 10th episode that we're recording today.
We're finally double digits.
Double digits, and these are your hosts, Drew and Aldo Mendez. I want to, first of all, thank everybody that voted on the poll. We had, 36 votes?
Yeah, 35, 36. Most votes on any of our polls by almost twice as much.
Yeah,
so.
And we have only 35 followers on Twitter, so thank you guys.
We're getting almost 100% community interaction, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's badass. And actually, talking about the poll, we got Darling in the Franxx that won.
Yeah.
It was pretty close with Hunter x Hunter Season 2.
Yeah, we were watching, me, you, and Lloyd in the group chat were watching the poll pretty intently, and the first day and a half, Hunter x Hunter had been ahead by 50% to 20% on compared to everything else. And then out of nowhere, Darling in the Franxx just became the overwhelming favorite and won by 54%.
We had some animated lobbyists interfere with the polls, I heard.
It was just Valentine, I think. Well, it was Valentine and somebody else that entered into our giveaway, actually, Alex Martinez, was also lobbying for Darling in the Franxx, I think.
Oh, okay.
I voted for Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl.
I actually voted for part 1 and part 2 of JoJo's.
I would have been really down for JoJo's because I hadn't rewatched it in a minute. But out of the 4 that were on there, I voted for Bunny Girl Senpai because out of all those, it's the only one I haven't finished.
I've never seen it.
But at the same time, I didn't want to watch it because it's another romance anime. We've been watching a bunch of romance anime.
Yeah, we watched 3-4 in a row, man. It's crazy. Anyways, thank you guys for voting the poll. We're going to be putting out another poll, and we'll talk about that later, or you want to talk about that now?
Well, let's talk to right now, in case this is all people listen to. Yeah, we're going to do the same thing we did last week because we're under the assumption that we got so many votes on our poll because we had community engagement involved, and we asked our Twitter followers what they would want on the poll. So right after we finish recording, I'll do a tweet again asking what we want on the poll, and we'll take it from there. I honestly don't want the same anime on the poll again. I would prefer it to be a completely different
list. Yeah, absolutely. We can always revisit all these options that we have.
But at the same time, if we get Hunter x Hunter again, I'm not going to be totally opposed to it because you've already almost finished season 2 of Hunter x Hunter.
Yes.
It's only 12 episodes, and we're going to be talking about a lot of the stuff from season 2 of Hunter x Hunter right now, discussing season 1, just because they retrofit the episodes in season 1 to fit the new power system introduced in season 2.
Yeah, and you want to talk?
Let's finish promoting. I messed up. I went on a tangent.
It's all right. No, thank you for following us. Please, if you like the podcast, if you like the Twitter, please tell your friends, subscribe, leave us comments, follow us at Between Nerds on Twitter. You guys can email us with something longer, more concerns, something you like about the episodes. Or the episodes in the podcast, email us at betweennerdspodcast@gmail.com.
You could even send us constructive criticism. If you were I don't like that Drew says all the time. Yeah. we'll take that into consideration.
Yes, and we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on Google Play.
Don't forget, we are still doing our giveaway and our hashtag promotion for the month, hashtag Nerds for Justice. All interactions, either hashtag use of hashtag Nerds for Justice or the amount of retweets and likes your tweet get with the use of the hashtag will count towards what we donate to the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People Legal Defense Fund later this month. So, and every time you do post a tweet with hashtag Nerds for Justice, you will be entered into our giveaway. There's a total of 4 people in right now.
Yeah, I know. There's nobody there, guys.
So there's a really good chance you can win.
I've been thinking, should we let them know what the giveaway is?
I think so. I feel like maybe we would get more interest in the giveaway itself because you pulled up with some spice.
That's spicy, huh?
Describe it. Paint me a word picture.
So let me. So I did put out a hint on the Twitter that it was gonna be based on our episode when we watched the 3 movies. Akira, Perfect Blue, and The Grave of the Fireflies.
Right.
So if you guys love Grave of the Fireflies, get ready because... You hear that?
What is it?
This is a 10 original can from Japan of the candy. The what's her name?
Was it Nezuko?
Netsuko.
Yeah.
That she eats on the grave of the fireflies with real candy sealed. That's gonna be our giveaway. There's no entries. There's like 4 or 5 entries. Was that a good description?
Yeah. Let me tell the audience. It really looks like it's got the little Nezuko girl on the cover. It's Japanese kanji on the front. It's real tin, like you can hear it. It's but it's sealed too, so it looks like a real collector's item. That's what I was telling Aldo. Like this looks like something spicy that will sit on the shelf and like retain value.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. And I was reading some comments when I was buying it. There's this comment that says, "Is it?" No, there was like questions asked. Was it instant sadness when you got it? And he was like, no, it wasn't. Like the answer was like, no, when I got it, it was really like nice to have it. But then as the candy starts getting lower and lower, you start remembering how she starts like dying in the movie.
Oh no!
So it gets progressively sad. But yeah, that's gonna be our giveaway. And then for this episode, we agreed on watching first season of Hunter x Hunter.
We didn't agree. The audience agreed.
Oh yeah, the audience agreed.
The audience agreed to watch season 1 of Hunter x Hunter. I thought it was kind of funny that season 2 of Hunter x Hunter did not win out. But getting into the anime, this was your first time watching Hunter x Hunter, Aldo?
Yes, this is my first time watching Hunter.
What was your initial impression?
Well, I've always heard good things about it, but I never really gotten a chance. And I love we've talked about this before. I love this medium because I can just get to watch anime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for the sake of the podcast. So it's nice to have like just the homework to watch it. But when I was thinking about it, I thought it was what do you want me to say? With the title alone, I just thought it was gonna be something like Pokemon.
Like Pokemon?
Something
because he's a monster hunter?
Yes, but not necessarily in the capture collecting kind of idea. Maybe like a Space Dandy registration monsters.
I get what you mean.
You know? And but no, it was not that at all.
I thought it was funny that like when you were talking about it to me, your first thought on the art design was Dragon Ball.
Yeah, like a mixture of Dragon Ball and Pokemon.
And I agree completely because like a lot of the character designs look like Dragon Ball designs. It looks like the author Togashi was. It almost looks like he was like paying homage to Akira Toriyama, the author of the Dragon Ball manga, because it's so similar that he had to have known that he was copying the art style. It's almost like he was just like respectfully paying homage to Toriyama's art style.
Yes. I feel like he wanted to tell a story in likes of Dragon Ball as far as like all this character development.
Because Dragon Ball is also coming of it. It's the hero's journey as well.
Yeah, and I feel like he found that, and yeah, it does feel like he's showing a lot of respect because I mean the animations is amazing. And where was I going with this? I think he was playing homage to Dragon Ball because I think for this kind of story it works.
In researching for this episode, I didn't even realize that the dub barely finished airing last year. I didn't even realize that because I think the first time I watched it must have been like 3 years ago. And watching it this week, you're saying you really like the animation style. I feel like it looks a little dated. It looks like when
we talked about this. Yes.
Yeah. And how in the Shampoo episode, I was being critical of the Shampoo animation because it looks dated. It doesn't look that bad. Like it's not like frame rate dropping. It's just there's a lot of like quirks of the animation style that are very like early 2010s animation style. Because if we were still making the anime every week, I think they'd start doing a lot more 3D modeling and a lot like crisper backgrounds because everything still looks hand drawn. And it's still clear that on certain things they're trying to preserve manpower in terms of animation because a lot of things just don't feel as crisp as they should be. It doesn't feel as concrete.
Yeah, but I mean, it still looks good though. I feel you on that. Maybe if it was still going on, maybe they'll use a little like CGI like in what is this, Demon Slayer?
Yeah, like Demon Slayer, like when they do CGI modeling in the animation, it's to accent 2D.
So in the second season, we talk about Nen, and I do see that on Nen looking a little bit dated. I'm like, really? You're gonna make it look a little bit more badass?
It looks like. Okay, so Nen is the power style, is the fighting style introduced in season 2 of the anime.
Yeah.
And I was describing a little last episode. Nen feels like when stands were introduced in JoJo's. Like all of a sudden the author's just like, you know what, I'm really
power system.
Yeah, here's the new power system. Y'all are just gonna accept it now because this is permanently what it's gonna be like. And it's just a bunch of auras, and like you're releasing your chakra again. It feels like Dragon Ball a little bit. It feels like Ki in Dragon Ball.
It reminds me like stands from JoJo's, but without the personification. Like it's just your energy, pretty much.
It's a manifestation of your energy. So it's literally stands.
It's
okay,
literally
I see what
stands.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's literally stands. It's a manifestation of your energy, and you're gonna fight somebody.
But it's not personalized into this, whatever.
Nen is smart.
Yeah, it is. It is complicated.
Nen is smart, and like the further on you get, and even the anime, I don't even know. Well, I know a little bit about how crazy Nen gets in the manga, but by the time you get to the Chimera Ant arc in the anime, you're like, he's so smart. Like Togashi is okay. So starting in the beginning of Hunter x Hunter, the anime, he writes episode 1 like a typical, like it's almost like the beginning of One Piece. Like he's fishing to go become the Pirate King / Pokemon champion / he's gonna be the leader of the Hidden Leaf Village. Like it's a typical shonen opening.
At this age, he's at the same age that his dad was when he passed the Hunter exam, right?
Right.
Yes. So to prove to himself, he wants to catch this big ass fish in his hometown.
Right.
And he ends up catching it, and he proves to himself that he will take the Hunter exam. Because if he wouldn't be able to catch that fish, he would have not gone and take the Hunter.
Yeah, exactly.
We meet Mito. Which fun fact, Mito's is played by Gon's voice actress real mom.
Oh yeah, that's what I think is really crazy about subs is that a lot of the voice actors are women.
Mm-hmm.
Like Luffy from One Piece has for like 30 fucking years been played by a woman.
Mm-hmm.
The original Ash Ketchum voice actor for Japan I think was a woman. And it's I don't think that's talked about enough, to be honest.
And I believe Kurapika's voice actress, I think she's also a woman, but in this show it's a dude, it's a guy.
Oh yeah. In regards to his aunt, I wonder what side of his family is that, like his mom's sister or his dad's sister?
No, that she said the dad is her brother.
Oh, okay.
No, the dad is her cousin.
What? So this is more like her second cousin as opposed to her aunt, really?
Man, I remember seeing this. It's towards the end, or I believe at the beginning of season 2. Oh no, it's actually in season 2 because Gon goes back to visit the aunt and they talk about it. But yeah, they're not brothers. They're like cousins.
After watching season 1, after finishing season 1 yesterday and remembering how the anime ends, I like so much more the beginning of Hunter x Hunter in terms of the dad, because once you actually figure out who the dad is, it takes like all the like air out of the, like all of a sudden like this giant specter that like his big goal and like everything that that they've been building up is all of a sudden just like let down. And I don't know, that's getting way into it, but I appreciate in the beginning how the dad is, because he's written as larger than life.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I keep it reminds me of One Piece so much because it's a lot of the same story beats, and they're both shonen, and they both started in the 90s.
It did give me that vibe too, as far as like how the first season start when like they go on the ship boat, like towards where the exam is held.
The ship boat.
The boat.
And then.
And that's where we meet like the crew for this next season.
It's Kurapika, Leorio, and Killua? Or wait, no, we don't meet Killua yet.
Yeah, I think we do. We do meet both of them.
I think he meets Killua in the tunnel.
No. Oh, no, Killua. Oh, yeah, Killua. I'm sorry. Yeah, he does meet him in the tunnel. Yeah, so right now it's just, I thought you were talking about Leorio. Leorio and Kurapika, they meet him. We meet him in the second episode.
In these earlier episodes, Leorio is the most annoying character. And I think the author like realized that at a certain point because there's certain he's just missing from like half of the manga. Like it is like introduced as like a concrete base of characters in the beginning, and at a certain point Togashi's just like he even hates that he met the character, just like kind of forgets about him.
You know what? Being the first time that I watched this, I was watching with my girlfriend. Shout out to you, baby. I love you. We were like, this guy's like lame. Like when you start, it's like, okay, well he might have some powers, and throughout the season you see him pull out a knife, but he never uses it.
He never actually fights anybody.
Yeah, he never fights anybody. And like when you think he's gonna fight somebody, he just like gives up, but he gets beaten up or something.
What's his name? The dude with the red eyes. I just said it and I already.
Oh, Kurapika?
Kurapika is really, really important. Kurapika and Killua, Killua's like introduced as the best friend. He pretty much stays there the whole time. There's a platonic-esque relationship there between Gon and
They respect each other.
They respect each other a lot.
Yeah.
They got big man respect for.
Yeah. So in episode 2, we're in a ship going to the location of the exam, and at this point, Kurapika and Leorio get into like a argument about why are you becoming a hunter, and then Kurapika doesn't call him Mr. Leorio like he wants to, and they get mad, and then they want to fight like.
I think that translates better in Japanese because
absolutely.
In Japanese, they call each other by their last names because like you're never gonna be you're oftentimes not friendly enough to call somebody by their first name, right? So in the dub, it sounds really weird, but like it is in terms of Japanese culture, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
And I think that part's super cheesy because out of nowhere, Kurapika just gives like his background. He's like, well, my whole family's and I'm getting revenge on my civilization.
I'm the last of my kind.
Yeah. And that becomes like a really big thing in every season. Every season, Kurapika trying to get revenge for his clan dying is like in every season.
It's intense. I like when we see a little glimpse of her powers. I can't remember where it was.
Dude.
Yeah, his powers. It's because that voice, dude. It trips me out. But yeah, he reminds me of like a Link kind of, like from Zelda, like a Link kind of person.
He reminds me of like Ichigo from Bleach almost. Like he's willing to make like such big sacrifices to like his future health and his powers for like one singular goal. In terms of I don't know how we've never talked about Bleach. I think that's our first mention of Bleach ever, like on this podcast.
I think so. Yeah, I haven't even talked about Bleach in a while.
Oh, I miss Bleach, and it's coming back, right?
I don't know.
I think they're coming out with a new season. They're publishing the manga again or something.
Okay.
And like, anyways, whatever.
We'll talk about that another episode.
But so the main plot of season 1 is Gon leaves his home village to go get a hunter's license. So the idea of a hunter's license is there's like in this universe there's some world organization government of like licensed killers that
they have free hotels, free traveling, they can kill, and like if you get a license to be a hunter, you can just kill every hunter and you can be the last hunter, but that doesn't mean that your hunter license is like revoked or anything. Like
you're living like like outside of the bounds of society almost.
Yeah, it's like if the Yakuza were in the government, which they're on.
Which there are. But so then season 1 is called the Hunter Exam because it's literally just 24 episodes of them going through trials to get this license.
And let me tell you, to see it a little bit more, like to dissect a little bit more, like as far as a journey for character development, I think it's really good as far as Gon. Gon is just a lovely person to be around.
He's pure, and I think like he's untainted is what I'm trying to say. Like he's like
a
12,
simpleton.
He's like 12, 13 years old, 14, something 12,
like that. 12. He took
12,
it away. Yeah,
right?
he took it when he's 12.
And like he's always happy. He never thinks bad of people, and like
he wants the best for everybody.
That's like one of my main gripes about season 1, but it's an asset later on, like in the.
Because they're gonna get into the fucking Hunter fucking.
Well, it's because you see him as pure and like unblemished, and then he becomes tainted. Like he becomes He's almost not human at this point because he's so pure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like
Yeah.
without sin, he's fucking Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah.
But then he becomes blemished. Like he has a big fall from grace at a certain point.
Okay. Cool. That's awesome.
The metaphor for
Yeah. So and then because they end up saving some dude and because they get a storm while they were fighting. There was a storm and some dude almost fall. So they all three work together, Kurapika, Leorio, and Gon, to save this like sailor guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the captain turns out that this is like the first phase to the exam.
Yeah.
And he passed all three of them because I guess they work together, you know.
And that's like so basically there's just different phases of this trial, and there's gonna be like hidden people that are actual exam administrators, and that's going to be giving them like weird tests. And I think what it's saying in like these early few phases of, well, this isn't even officially a phase of the trial, but early on in the Hunter exam, I think what Togashi was trying to get across was that this is a shonen. I realize that this is a shonen. I'm writing it like the actual dialogue's not there. It's really simple.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a bunch of like tricky wording like Bakemonogatari or something like that.
Things are just happening easy.
Yeah, easy. But in terms of like plot, like he wanted it to seem smart. Like he's like, I'm gonna subvert some things that I tell you up front. I'm trying to trick you, and that's how it's smart, is in terms of the plot.
Yeah, and I think it's something challenging, I guess, for every anime to try to. And like in the first season of anything, they're trying to make you understand what world we're going into.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he does it very easily. And he gets to the point, like you said, you know?
Yeah.
And then what happens there after they get to the town?
I don't even remember. So they start having little trials. They get quizzed in the middle of a town by an old lady.
Yeah, they start asking like spicy questions. Of like if your mom or your true love were kidnapped, but you could only save one, who would it be? And like some weird questions like that.
And then Kurapika just realizes that none of that actually mattered.
Yeah, it's like no, both answers are wrong. It's like whatever you answer is wrong. Is like that's something you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they pass, so they pass another little like.
I don't like these early
checkpoints.
I don't like these early parts of the Hunter exam because it's so cheesy. It's so corny.
It's so brainless, but but it's moving fast.
And yeah. At least it's moving fast because they only deal with that for like half an episode.
Yeah. And then episode 3. No, they end up going up the mountain and they meet those.
Yeah. They meet some weird fox-like creatures that can speak and that have like telepathic abilities with each other.
And we were talking about this earlier. These are some kind of like when I was talking about like Hunter being like hunting monsters or hunting some sort of beast or something.
Right.
This is the first look we get at something beast-like, but it's also sentient.
And I think it's so like you're right because even in like later episodes, there's no monsters anywhere. Like it's called Hunter x Hunter. But he's never monster hunting, basically.
Yeah, and we don't see any monsters. This is the first kind of monsters. And they remind me of, like, the white cat in Dragon Ball. What's his name?
Oh, I don't even know.
Yeah, Mass or something. The white...
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Like, they remind me of someone like that. Yeah, you wouldn't count that as a beast. It's like he's sentient or something.
And
anyways.
And these little fox things just realize that Gon's talented because he's able to differentiate between the two.
Oh, yeah. So, at some point, these beasts or these monster-like creatures, they are picking up people? Or how they're doing it? They're just taking them out of the competition?
Yeah, because they're exam hunters, so it's like... Unless you can not get kidnapped by them, then you're not worthy of taking the exam?
Something like that. So anyways, at some point, Gon and the crew, they meet with one of these, but they're fast. And Gon is super fast, and he's just jumping all over the place. At some point, he ends up hitting the creature.
Mm-hmm.
And he loses him for like a second, and he ends up following the creature and finds him, but it turns out it wasn't the same creature. At some point, Gon is following him, or her, at this point, I don't know. But he stops, and he's like, so who are you? Because he's like, you're not the one that I hit earlier. It's like, and then they get super impressed because he was able to tell between them, and they give him the passage to, like, keep going the exam. Yeah.
And, again, like, it's super cheesy and super just, like, a pat on the back kind of, like, oh, like, you're so talented, you deserve so much.
What
Like,
do they say? They're like, your perception to these things is it defies logic.
everybody's interaction with Gon Free is just like awe and dismay about how much of a prodigy this kid is. And like it becomes so dull almost because like you know everyone's gonna love him right off the bat. You know that like everyone's gonna like reach out a hand to help him because he's such a good guy. Like it's lazy writing, and that's what I'm talking about. But there's other things that are smart about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The like I said, the character, the animations too. I know you're saying it was like kind of antiquated. But some of these shots, like these shots right here, man, they're nice. Like when you have these Killua menacing or frightening shots, they look good.
But then a lot of the characters, so
But at this point, I do like how it's going. Then after the monsters, they get to the labyrinth, right?
yeah, they go down some tunnel and they meet another examiner named Mr. Sato, and he's just gonna walk briefly down this tunnel, and that's how people are gonna drop out of the hunter exam because they're gonna become too exhausted to follow him.
Mm-hmm. And they don't let you know at the beginning that it's gonna be a super like it's not that it's gonna be like a run pretty much. Like he just tells them, "Hey, just follow me, and I'll take you to the next section of the exam."
It's like a whole day marathon.
Yeah.
And then people are just like, but again, Gon's such a fucking talent without even trying. He can just briefly
jog to the goddamn thing.
Yeah, he's just having fun. Just taking the hunter exam while grown men are just like dying.
Mm-hmm. Oh, before this, when they start the labyrinth, we meet Tompa, the rookie crusher, which is trying to make everybody shit their pants in the labyrinth.
So he's just some douche, like the most annoying character in season 1, but like purposely so, and he's there the whole season.
Yeah, he has taken the exam so many times, but he just does it to like fuck up the rookie.
Yeah, he's just
first year.
He's just some loser that takes the exam every year just so that he can fail.
Also, a little bit more explanation on the exam. Apparently, there's people that are badasses too, but they're taking the exam plenty of times. They're letting you know that this is how hard the exam is. And how many people is there? There's like a shitload of people at the beginning.
Hundreds and like.
In the labyrinth part, there's like a shitload of people there. And they said, only one rookie in every 4 years passes the exam or something like that. Then you get the hints of like, obviously it's gonna be gone, you know?
Yeah.
And they run. They meet Killua. We meet Killua in this episode.
Killua becomes Gon's best friend. I think they say like when we first meet that he was a son of assassin, something like that.
That's until later on with the episode 6. That's like 3 episodes ahead, but yeah, that's when he tells him.
But we know that he's as talented as Gon. Like he's 12 years old again, and he has extreme physical ability that's not extreme.
Yeah, we meet him skating throughout the labyrinth, and he stops skating because he's running with Gon. And because Killua notices that Gon is just running without any effort. He's just running. He's just going. And that's pretty much it. He gets impressed by Gon and he just runs beside him. And we just kind of start meeting Killua from there.
So as soon as they get out of the tunnel, they meet probably like one of the most important like antagonists in this entire thing is what's his name? The evil clown Hisoka. And he's he has this really creepy like infatuation with Gon. Like he's in full like clown makeup. Like he's got like red hair, white clown makeup on, like a clown jester outfit on.
Yeah, like almost like a male Harley Quinn.
Yeah, but then he also has gambit powers because he can shoot cards and people die.
Well, we don't know about the Nen because he's obviously using Nen with the cards.
He's using Nen, but we don't know that yet because we can't see. But
because we're dumb.
But
yeah, we meet Hisoka. Oh, but I wanted to point out that when they finish the labyrinth, the examine what do you call it? Examiner? Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, the examiner.
Un examen.
Un examen? That's good. You're learning Spanish. But the examiner finishes the labyrinth, and right behind him, like the second right after, is just Killua and Gon running like right past them. So they're showing that these guys are fucking ridiculous.
And like the examiner's like impressed that these kids could even keep up with.
Yeah, so then we go into the next section, which is the fog forest, like the deceiving fog forest or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do meet Hisoka. He kills the
a monkey.
Yeah,
like a transforming people-looking monkey.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yeah, something like that. Some sort of monkey, but he was deceiving the whole crew, saying that he was the examiner. After that, where do we go after that?
So after that, we go through the fog, and like the Mr. Satotes is again just like, hey, follow me, but we're gonna go through this foggy forest, and of course, like we know that everyone's gonna get lost and no one's gonna be able to follow him. And then we see...
so we see the first time Hisoka fights, right? Because he's going to get fucking jumped or something?
Yeah, he's going to get jumped by like a group of... Like, he's obviously the most scary-looking guy there. So a bunch of other people taking the exam are going to try to jump him and like kick him out of the Hunter exam.
Yeah, because from what I remember, from the time that he has taken the Hunter exam, he's killed some throughout that time.
Oh yeah, he took it like the year before, but he didn't pass because like he killed somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, but about that, like throughout this exam, there's a lot of like casual murder that's happening.
Absolutely.
And, like,
but you're doing the Hunter exam.
There's no emotional weight to it.
Do you
like,
think you're gonna go to jail if you kill somebody in the police academy?
A bunch of people that they name and introduce, like an episode later, they're just dead.
Everybody dies.
And it's super weird, like how its little weight is put to everyone's life in Hunter x Hunter.
And throughout this whole time, throughout this 26 episodes, do you think Leorio is gonna die or something?
You think he's gonna die?
Every time.
And I think it's funny that he wants to be called Mr. Leorio, and he's portrayed to be all old, but he's like 16, 17, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a young adult.
Mm-hmm.
And so Hisoka's getting jumped, and he just straight up murks all these guys.
Yeah, easily.
Without even trying.
Easily.
Like,
Yeah.
Without even breaking the sweat, he just murders everybody. And I think Leorio watched him do it or something.
I believe so.
And then Leorio gets his ass kicked by Hisoka.
At some point, I believe he does get punched.
Why did he get his ass kicked by Hisoka right there? I don't even remember that.
I think just out of fucking fun. I don't know. I think he saw him do that, and then he got mad. But yeah, I remember they had an altercation in the fog. But Gon got him out of there or some shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Gon gets strangled by Hisoka, but after concluding that they have passed his test, role played as...
Yeah.
Oh, so what we're seeing is like Hisoka not wanting to kill Gon because he's like, you're my little pet. You haven't matured into...
Somehow Hisoka knows that Gon has...
some kind of strange ability.
Some sort of strength.
Potential.
Yes. And yeah, he just gets super into Gon in the fighting way. This is how they want to put it, but nah, it gets weird. And he gets his ass kicked, but they finish, and then that's where they meet the gourmet. Next episode, I think that's where they finish the gourmet hunters.
Again, this is one of my favorite character designs is the female gourmet hunter in this episode.
Oh yeah, the girl that fails everybody.
But then the more you think about it, she literally just looks like a Bulma ripoff from Dragon Ball, kind of like an adult Bulma ripoff.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, if you want to think about it, like Leorio's like Yamcha.
Yamcha?
Yeah.
And so the goal of this test was for all of the examinees to go find a wild feral pig that's like 10 fucking feet tall and like bring it back and cook it for them.
Yeah.
And but wait,
but at this point you're like, wait, gourmet hunters is like, wait, what the fuck am I? What's going on?
And it almost makes being a hunter sound lame. Like, why would you want to be a gourmet hunter? It's like, why did you get a hunter license? It's like this all powerful, like get away with anything ticket pass around the world. Oh, I just want to make cool food.
Maybe there's some shit that it's illegal to kill. Think about that. Cool ass shit.
I'm just saying it sounds tacky.
Yeah, it sounds very tacky. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, it does sound very tacky. It's almost like. It's like the medical people at the Pokemon med fucking building.
This whole world of Pokemon, and you want to work at the Pokemon Center.
Yeah, come on, Nurse Joy.
Why would you do that?
Why would you want to be a cop?
At least what was his name? Judy? What was the cop's name in Pokemon?
Yeah, I know Joy because
at least she's fighting crime. That's cool.
Come on, Nurse Joy, you can do better.
So then I don't know. It's a 2-part exam because she fails everybody after they cook the pig wrong and she doesn't like it.
Yeah, and she fails everybody because everybody burns it.
But then we meet Chairman Netero and he makes her retake the exam, commission the exam,
And
and
makes them get a spider egg.
yeah, like that are spider eggs that are floating in a nest over a ravine with an air current.
To keep them from
So-
predators.
Yeah, so again, we just see examinees just falling off a cliff, and everyone's just like, "Oh, that's crazy! Don't do that." Like,
Yeah, it's like, no, don't just jump.
yeah, that guy just
But that's
died.
like after 50 went by.
And like it's like funny how little Togashi like cared about just the act of morality. Like it's just he's reiterating the point that hunters are so above like caring about the small folk. Like we are these super talented people, super highly specific, impossible tasks. Like I can't worry about average people dying or
Yeah. And yeah, they have to like catch their spider web and like swing and get this. Because the test now is to boil an egg, but the fucking catch was that these fucking eggs were dangling in this cliff and they have to get them precisely. Anyways, they cook it, they boil the egg, they pass. Some of them fail, right?
yeah.
At this point, they go into the blimp in next episode to the next trial.
Right, and it's not even so. One of the best scenes, and one of the replies on our Twitter when we asked what the favorite scene from Hunter x Hunter was, somebody replied that it was the airship scene with Chairman Netero against Gon and Killua.
Oh, the challenge, yeah, Netero's challenge with the ball.
Yeah, because like it's just this 100-year-old man
Mm-hmm.
that is somehow like very physically able, and he can do
Like Master Roshi.
yeah, he's like Master Roshi, and he just wants to play a game with Killua and Gon because he sees how talented these kids are, and he just plays a game of keep away. He's like, I have this ball. We're gonna spend all night you trying to get this ball away from me.
Mhm.
If you can get it, like you automatically pass the exam.
Yeah, so they're going at it for hours. So they pass the exam. At this time, everybody's sleeping because they need to get some rest for the next part of the challenge. At this point, Killua and Gon are awake trying to get this ball from this old man. And at some point, Killua's like, "Hey, Gon, let's get out of here. There's no way." He's like, "No, what? You're giving up?" It's like, "No." It's like we haven't even made him use his right hand or his left leg.
Right.
It was like he's just been standing on like a leg and like using one hand to hold a ball.
And he's just been like easily keeping this ball away from these kids.
Yeah.
And Killua is smart because so then we start seeing some of Killua's powers. He can do like special like illusion steps and like quick walking.
It's cool. It's just like do.
And so we know that Killua is talented, and for him to say like, no, we can never accomplish this, and for Gon to be like, no, like I'm gonna try my best. And
I'm just gonna keep trying.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep trying all night, even if I know I can't do it.
Yeah, but like throughout the, and then he's still working at this. It's almost like morning. The next exam is gonna start, but at this point, Gon did a cool attack on what is it, Netero?
He did a headbutt, didn't he?
Yeah, he did headbutt, and he was trying to do a headbutt again after he got hit back by Netero. But then he did it again, and Netero had to dodge using his other hand to dodge him out of the way. At this point, Gon is like, "Ha! Made you use your other hand," and falls asleep.
That's funny.
Yeah, and then Netero, being a nice guy, was like, "Hey, let's delay the next exam phase."
Netero, in like the entirety of the anime, is probably my favorite character.
Cool, that's nice to see. That's nice
like he is super relevant, and he's like absolutely the best. He's the Bernie Sanders of the Hunter x Hunter world.
The Bernie Sanders, I like it.
Rest in peace, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh man. But then we get the next part of the challenge is the tower, right? 72-hour tower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wait. At this point, that's where Killua tells Gon about the family. So he's a part of a family of assassins.
Yeah.
And then we go to the next episode, episode 7. It starts with a 72-hour tower. Assassins.
Yeah, so there's a 72-hour tower. Starts episode 8, decision by majority. This one's cool because we get like a mini tournament arc almost because we see back-to-back fights finally happen.
It's funny because they get dropped off at the top of this fucking tower with a flat surface, but there's like hidden latches,
Right.
which take you to different challenges in the tower.
Right.
And you have 72 hours to get to the bottom of the tower. What I thought it was just fucking lazy writing. Not lazy writing, but I don't want to say that because it's good. The lazy writing is that they'll all find a latch, and it so happened that those latches went into a group challenge.
Yeah, so even the characters are under the impression that each latch is going to take you to a different like part of the tower, and they're going to be separated, and they even say bye to each other. Like, till we meet again, bye.
And we're like, what?
And then you're right, it's lazy writing. It just seems like Togashi was like, oh, fuck. Like, I do want them to stay together.
They just make him in the fucking same room. Yeah, so they fall into the same room, which is the... so 5 go down the latch. We have Gon, Killua, Kurapika, Leorio, and Tompa, the rookie crusher.
Right.
Yeah, the guy that tried to make everybody shit his pants in the labyrinth. And they have to do these matches and win 3, like they have to win by 3.
Yeah, it's called decision by majority because like whatever the group decides to do, that's like down which path they'll go, and that dictates what challenge they're gonna experience.
Yeah. So, anyways, Tompa goes first, and he gives up. He just
No. What's happening? Okay, so they go down a certain path, and then they get into a room.
Oh, with a voting. That's right.
That's what I'm talking about. So the part you're talking about, they get to a room that's over a suspended, like, looks like an endless
arena?
fucking ditch. Yeah, and they get to an arena with prisoners, and these prisoners have been dictated to be temporary examiners, and they have to fight the examinees. And if they can prevent these people from passing this phase of the hunter exam, then they'll get years off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so for what this 72-hour tower challenge is, if they stop the examinees from passing, they get 72 years away from their sentence or something like that.
Right. So these are all bad people because they have
and they just want to kick ass. Yeah.
They all have long sentences.
Purpose. They have a purpose, kind of. And so Tompa gives up the first point, so they're 1-0.
Right.
And then Kurapika goes against the fake blue guy, the one that's bluffing all the time.
Right.
He wants to seem like he's a badass, but then we see Kurapika's eyes at this point. So apparently Kurapika,
So the guy's name is Majitani.
The guy
he looks like a blue Frankenstein, and he has a big spider tattoo on his back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and but at this point, how we explain that what Kurapika is like, she's like a what he is like, he's like a
he belongs to a secret clan that, like, when they get angry or riled up, their eyes turn red.
And I guess this is so badass because she beats him.
Well, his whole clan is dead because of the red eyes. So a group called the Phantom Troop, which is like the most notorious killers in this, like, murdered his whole family just so that they could harvest their red eyes, just for collectors. It's like fucking...
Because they're good warriors too, right?
It's like fucking rhinoceros horn or something. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna kill this rare species just to, like, ooh and ah at their fucking red eyes.
It almost reminds me of the Mandalorian.
Why?
I don't know, just because they're weird. Like, if you have a Mandalorian helmet...
Oh, I get what you mean. So then... Majitani, this blue Frankenstein, exposes a spider tattoo saying that he is part of the Phantom Troop. And that sets off Kurapika, and he almost kills him right on the spot.
And he has like wooden little swords. Like, I don't know what those
are.
They're
like nunchucks almost, but they're not nunchucks. And they're like they look like cop nightsticks, but on a chain.
So, anyways, right here we just jumped some episodes because some of these episodes happening throughout like maybe 1 or 4 episodes. Because we went from The Latch, which is episode 8, and then we went all the way to 9 in Kurapika's eyes. So in the next episode, which is the other fight, because they win that point, right?
Yeah.
So now they're 1-1.
Right.
Yeah. Then the next episode is the wager one. Yeah, with that girl. Do you remember her name?
Her name is Leorio fights her, and Togari, a former examiner.
Yeah, the pink girl.
Yeah.
And what do they bet first? Like, if she's a girl or a guy?
Right. So the deal she makes is it's betting. It's literal betting. It's like we each have 100 points, which are equal to like 100 hours or something like that. No, it's 50. You get 50. She gets 50 hours. He gets 50 hours, and they can bet hours on a bet. So you can bet like I bet you won't touch me here or do that, and I bet 20 hours on that. And
it was
and then
funny.
but it's like poker. So like when you get to zero, like you're out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this Majitani girl, like you're saying, the very first thing she says is, I'll bet you 5 hours.
But she's like covering a hoodie and shit.
She's like, you have to guess if I'm a girl or a guy. And Leorio's like the 17-year-old pervert, just like, yeah, I want to see if she's a girl or a guy, just so that she can feel it, so that he can feel her up.
And then he loses. And then the next bet is like, well, how do I know it's real? And he bets hours just to judge her body.
Yeah, it's super creepy. It's super creepy and counterproductive because if he's losing, if he has to get through the tower in 72 hours and he's betting 50 hours just to feel this girl up, then like he has completely cucked his team because now they have less time to get out of the tower.
Yep. So at some point they end up betting some more hours on whether the blue dude is dead or alive.
Mm-hmm. Majitani.
Right? Yeah, and he almost drops him like on the ledge of that platform in the arena that we see, and he's like, no, I was just kidding, and he saves them. So they end up losing and they end up passing, but they still have to wait their 50 hours, correct?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
wait.
So they get through more fights because Killua has to fight somebody.
Yeah, so it's Killua's turn to fight like the one person that we see hidden in the background this whole time.
Who's like some mega murderer, super strong killer guy.
146 murders, and they all had in common that they were killed by his hands or something like that.
And then Killua just easily just rips his heart out
and puts it in a bag. And it's great.
It's super creepy and because Killua, they don't even explain how he does it. He has like the ability to grow out his fingernails to the point that they're super sharp, so then it's so sharp that he can just like cut into somebody's sternum in an instant and rip out their heart.
It reminds me almost like a vampire type. Like it reminds me almost like Dracula or something. You know?
Yeah.
Like some abilities like that, and I don't know. He just looks very creepy. Anyways, yeah, he puts a guy's heart in a bag. They end up winning.
Where did he get the bag?
I don't know, dude.
That's what I'm saying. It's super like
he has a pocket full of bags.
It's in like a brown paper bag when he rips out the heart, and then as an audience, you're just supposed to feel shocked, like, like he really ripped out his heart. That's so crazy.
What amazed me was the bag, but like you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now it makes sense how they were betting hours, because like why wouldn't you just keep going? But anyways, after this arena type challenge, they get into a room where they have to weigh the hours waged that they were lost in the wager.
Right. So and that's like the final part of the this phase of the exam, because like you could easily go crazy in the room and just decide to like quit the exam right then.
Yeah.
So it takes like a certain amount of discipline to sit in a room for like 50 hours.
So recap episode. We have a recap episode at this point. So 2 episodes on this 26 episode long anime. They're both recap episodes.
I think it's super annoying. I hate that so much because like I hated when Shampoo did recap episodes, and I absolutely cannot stand when this says recap episodes, because the last episode in this season is a recap episode. Like, and what I was telling you before we started recording was like, imagine you're really watching this week to week, and you're so excited for the last episode of the season, episode 26. It's a fucking recap episode. That'd be the most disappointing thing to watch.
Yeah, nothing new. It was just a recap. It's crazy. Anyways, episode 14, we get the badge challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
After the blimp lands, we get into this land where one of the examiners gives a badge, or gives a card with a number of everybody's badge, and as you finish the last exam, you have to pick a card, and that number of that badge means that you have to hunt that person.
Right, so if I get assigned number 1, I also have to reach into this basket and pull out a number of the person that is my target, which might be 10 or something.
Yeah, out of a lot of random numbers.
And then they're going to dump them on this island, and at the end of like 4 or 5 days or something like that, you have to...
They have a week.
You have to have 6 points. So you get 3 points for keeping your own badge, you get 3 points for your target's badge, and you get 1 extra point for every badge you have that's not one of those 3.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's multiple ways that you can win this part of the phase. You could lose your badge, not catch your target, but as long as you 6 other badges, like you pass the exam.
You pass the exam.
But obviously, the easiest way would be just to maintain your badge and get your targets back.
At this point, yeah, that would be the easiest way. And like you said, you could do that. But at this point of the exam, we have like the last phase of the exam, which is the badass people.
Yeah, it's like 15 badass people at this point.
And at this point, we see Leorio get tricked by Tompa. But one of the important things is that at this point, Gon is practicing his fishing rod.
His target is Hisoka. And he gets the bright idea from watching, what was it, like a frog or something? That like he could use this fishing rod that he carries around.
So, yeah, I remember. He was trying to catch a bird.
Right.
But he was like, why I can't catch the bird? So he realized that the bird was trying to catch a fish, which a fish was hunting a fly.
Right.
So a fish was hunting for the fly or the insect. He would go off the water, the bird would come and pick up the fish.
And he realized that the only way to catch a moving target is
by knowing where he's going to be.
By knowing where he's going to be, and which is going to be like hunting its target, because it'll let its guard down while it's hunting. So him trying to catch Hisoka and get his badge, he needs to catch Hisoka in the act of hunting. And Hisoka, once we see him on the island, he's seen to be like a cold-blooded murderer. Like, this guy's absolutely psychotic. Like, he is totally down to easily kill anybody and everybody just to, like, get his way. Or, like, he'll kill somebody just because it's easier for him to kill you than deal with you.
And then from the first episodes, we know that Gon is very, like, nature. He's just out there looking at all this crazy shit. He figures out how to practice with his rod and get a moving target. Later on, we figured out that he practiced his fishing rod 1,300 times.
But we as an audience do know that somebody is watching him this whole time.
Yeah, this Shakespearean kind of hunter afro dude.
Yeah. There's some weird guy in like a Victorian outfit, like spying on. Well, we're under the assumption that Gon is his target.
Yeah. Because he's just watching him practice the fishing rod.
Yeah, like Gon's like practicing his fishing rod all day for like 2 days just to like get confident enough to accomplish this, and this guy's just watching him the whole time.
I really like next episode because as a first time watcher, I don't realize this, but this is where Gon, after practicing his fishing rod, he decides that he has to watch Hisoka. He has to keep an eye on him and make sure when he is gonna know when is the perfect time to attack. And he follows them for a very long time. At some point, he gets his badge, correct?
He does get his badge. So there's like a certain point where Hisoka is just overcome with bloodlust, super creepy. But before that, like some guy almost tries to kill Hisoka. And he almost hits Gon with a spear, but he's already dying. So
correct, yeah, because at some point when Gon was watching him, Hisoka starts saying out loud, because he's watching him from afar, and Hisoka's like, I know you're there. It's like, either come to me or when I come to you. And he's walking towards Gon, but then another character pops out, the guy with a spear, but he's already hurt, and Hisoka denies his challenge, like, to fight, because he was already dead. And Gon realized at this point that like he already has all these points. It's like next time he attacks, if the other person like gives up, it's like that's it. It's like I'm not gonna have another chance for him to attack somebody. So I have to attack him this next time. I have to make my move this next challenge. At this point, because Hisoka didn't kill the spear guy, he wanted to kill someone, and he felt like he needed to kill somebody. And he goes into this like psychotic state into walking.
Right.
Yeah, and Gon, to hide from him, he just kind of just lower his, I don't know, and like I said, as a first time watcher, you don't know what he's doing, but this is a reference to, like, Nen, more specifically the Setsu.
Right.
And he just makes himself invisible with his aura.
Well, what we also see right here is, there's an examinee named Ida Rucker, who's like this dude in this green suit, and has like needles all up in his face, and we see him as like friendly with Hisoka, which is really weird because Hisoka hasn't talked to anybody. He's some weird psychopathic murderer. So we know if somebody's on his wavelength, then he has to be a little off, right? And this guy kind of just like kills somebody, gets his 6 points, digs a hole in the ground, and sleeps off the rest of the week before, like, while the rest of the exams go. Correct. Super weird stuff going on. And he ends up being relevant. That's the only reason I brought him up. He's relevant later.
Correct. And then as Gon realizes that Hisoka has all these points, like he has to make his move, he gets his badge, but at this point the Shakespearean character comes out again. Mm-hmm. When Gon finally gets his points, he paralyzes him.
Oh yeah. Was it a dart? It was a poison dart, right?
Yeah. And at this point, he says, "Oh, I had 1,300 opportunities to kill you, and that's how many times you practice your fishing rod." And he gets his badges taken away, his points taken away. Then later on, we realize that Hisoka fucking murdered that dude, right?
Oh yeah, so Gon, he's so impressed. Hisoka is so impressed that Gon is able to take his badge, that he kills the guy that
stole his points,
that would have stolen Gon's points and got him kicked out of the exam, just to, like, he wants to see Gon succeed.
Yeah.
In, like, the creepiest, weirdest way possible. And I don't know how else to say it, really.
Throughout the week, you were saying that Hisoka was kind of pervy, and I thought you were fucking around. Like, yeah, man, it starts growing very weird.
You see it a lot in the Battle Tower episodes. Very weird.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing a lot of, like, lip licking while looking and thinking.
Little. Yeah, man. And, so he gives him his badge back, which is 45. He gives Gon his points back. Mm-hmm. And Gon was like, "No, I don't want it." It's like, "Here's your badge." It's like, and then Hisoka, like, punches him in the fucking face.
Because Gon wants to deserve everything. Like, he doesn't want any handouts. He doesn't want any favors. Like, he wants to feel like he
needs to prove himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Hisoka just sucks him in the face. And he's like, "Whenever you can punch me like that on the face, I'll accept my badge back."
He gets punched that hard in the face.
Yeah. He gets fucked. Yeah, he does. It's
eventually.
Awesome. But then Gon is all fucking, sad because the way he won. Where are we at this point?
Gon meets back up with with Leorio and Kurapika.
Correct. Yeah, this is where Killua tricks Hanzo with the badges that he stole from the twins, from the brothers. I mean, these are not relevant people in the story, but they show again Killua that he's a badass. He tricked one of the top competitors towards the end. We also see the when they get trapped in the snake pit.
Right. So what's going on is Leorio still wants to get his target's badge, and it's some girl named Ponzu. And
which is Leorio.
He follows Ponzu into some little cave, and basically Leorio, Kurapika, and Gon get trapped in this cave with Ponzu because she killed a dude named Bourbon who had trained vipers with him. That was his gimmick.
Now that I think about it, do you think that was another glimpse at Nen, since he put Nen on the animals?
Absolutely. That would have been like a midder type of Nen.
So we find out that Ponzu has this bee-type attack?
Yeah, she literally has like a swarm, but like they look more like hornets or wasps. Yeah. Like she's got all these bees living inside of her.
So she's a manipulator too?
I don't know. But see, that's the thing. When when Togashi was writing this part of the manga, he had yet to think of Nen. So we, knowing what Nen and the future battle system is,
we're see glimpses of this.
We're trying to retrofit the narrative to fit what we know.
Yeah.
Which you have to think it in context. Yes, you're probably right. If you're trying to make it's like
sense of anything.
It's like when you try to retrofit like every part of Star Wars every time you learn some new information.
Yeah.
But it wasn't written to like that.
Anyways, it's fun to think about. But yeah, so that guy, what'd you say? The guy with the snakes, what's his name?
Bourbon.
Bourbon, yeah. He put a spell on vipers in this cave that he hid because he already had his points, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But because of Ponzu used her power on him, he was allergic to the bee stings and he just died peacefully. Like
the irony of this snake charmer trainer person
she used sleeping smoke or some shit like that.
No, he died from the bee stings.
Yeah.
Because these bees are trained to sting if she screams or anything like that. They're trained to protect her no matter what. And he dies. So then this whole group is trapped inside of this cave because if they try to leave, then the vipers are trained to attack whoever. And Leorio already got bit a bunch of times, so they're on like a timer because the venom's going through his system. He needs to hurry up and get an antidote or he's gonna die. So the brave thing Gon does is he sticks his hands into Bourbon's dead body and getting bitten up by these venomous snakes, trying to find the antidote within his clothing.
Correct. Yeah, they end up finding the fucking. That's like a big like, and they make such a big deal in the episode. He just willingly went without fear of dying just to reach for the poison, and we see another glimpse at his purity and stuff like that. And he ends up getting the anti venom. Or the anti venom. He gives it to Leorio. They wake up.
It's such lazy writing. Like, it's so convenient writing that like, oh, and I got the antidote. Everything's fine. Everything's fixed. And I just got the 2 badges that we need to get like the perfect amount of points. That's so crazy. Mm-hmm. Like.
And like we said, but these things are happening fast. How I see it. I mean, the first time watching it, at no point I was like, oh fuck, like I wasn't let down by the episodes of how they went.
I feel like the first time I watched it, I had the same gripe. Like, I don't want it to sound like I don't like Hunter. I very much do like Hunter. Mm-hmm. I'm just hypercritical of everything, and at the time I remember having these same critiques when I first watched this, but you realize that there's something else there. Like it, and it's like since the anime, or at least this series, came out like 13 years after the manga started, mm-hmm. the directors and the writers associated with the anime knew how good it was going to get. So they were like, we know this writing seems very late 90s. It's very typical shonen. It's very, like, just plain almost. Like, we know our audience is going to stick with it because we all know, like, the quality of the manga.
Yep, and it's really good. And like we said, it sounds like we're hating on it, but we're not.
We're not. It's purposely bland. It's purposely average. It's not even bad. It's like average.
At this point, I'm already sad of, Mr. Togashi's condition.
Yeah. We talked about it a little last week. He's not healthy enough to finish the manga. A lot of what I was looking up, it seems to be associated with the stresses of like the industry, or it might be some kind of chronic condition. Either way, he is not healthy enough to maintain the publications of the manga. He can't even draw anymore. But his wife is trying to learn his art style, and she's the author of the Sailor Moon manga. And so
they've been married for a while.
Yeah, they've been married for like fucking forever, and she's super talented in and of her own right. Is trying to finish the manga in case he.
Mm-hmm. So back to the episode on the snake pit. The way they get out is because we learned that Gon can hold his breath for a long time.
Oh yeah, super tacky.
Yeah, super tacky. They're gonna use smoke, like sleeping gas again, and he's gonna hold his breath and save everybody.
Yeah, since Ponzu uses chemical agents, she's just gonna use sleep powder to put the snakes to sleep. But Gon's gonna hold his breath for 5 minutes and carry everybody on his back out of the cave, and that's how they go.
Yeah, so they get out of the snake pit, and then is this where the interviews start with Netero?
Yeah. So the rest of the days just breeze by, and we know who passes. It's everybody that we've been following, a few other people. And then Chairman Netero decides to have interviews of all the applicants to see what they think of each other.
Yeah, and it's questions like, who would be the one that you want to fight the most, or who you would not want to fight?
Who are you most interested in?
Who are you most interested in? Who are you most like scared of, or something like that? And they go through it like that. So he ends up making the bracket of this next combat kind challenge. Mm-hmm. And the bracket is unusual, apparently.
Right. So the way this tournament arc is gonna work is that like you only need one win to advance to the end of the tournament.
But you can't lose 4 times or something like that?
Right. So what that means is that only one person is going to fail the exam, because all you need is one win, and then you don't have to play any of the other fights. But then that leads, there's the politics in play at the beginning of the tournament, because you could easily be like,
not everybody fights each other.
Yeah, not everyone has to fight each other, because if you know you're stronger than your opponent, then you can just like make a deal with them, be like, hey, you're so strong, me and you both know you're gonna win your next fight too, so let's make this deal now. You let me win, and like it'll progress from there.
Yeah, and we see that with the first fight, which is Gon versus Hanzo. Hanzo is the bald dude like Tien.
Right, and he's
Like a ninja.
He is a ninja. He's trained in Ninpo and all this other stuff.
Yeah, and Gon gets his ass tossed, dude.
Because the stipulation of the fight is that the round is only over when you when you tap out, basically, when you say you give up.
Correct.
When you audibly say you give up. So if you pass out or you die, like, that doesn't count as the round being over.
That disqualifies the guy that knocked them out.
Right. If you kill somebody, then you're automatically disqualified, and everybody else in the.
So you have to admit defeat.
Right. You need it. So this ninja guy's initial plan is to torture Gon so bad that he has to give up. And it gets bad, like he breaks Gon's arm, he's beating the shit out of him, and like...
Yeah, at some point he has like these blades in his arm, like kind of like Assassin's Creed style, and he points it at his head, and he's like, no, there should be a way where we both is like, alright, I give up, fuck it, whatever. And Gon's like, no, don't fucking give up. Let's fucking, like, try to do something.
He figures that he can't get Gon to give up without killing him, so he has to just, like, he has to admit defeat, because he's like, I'll never be able to get him to give up. Like, Gon is so, like, strong-headed that, like, it'll never happen. So then Gon passes out.
Yeah, he fucks him up. He's like, hey, I give up. I'm pretty sure when he wakes up, he's not gonna like that he already passed.
That he won like that, right?
Yeah, that he won like that. And anyways... next episode we see that the Gon is recuperated. He was unconscious.
Yeah, he
for
was
a while,
unconscious
for the rest of the battles.
He wakes up in the bed, and then the rest of the episode is Mr. Satotes. Was that his name? Like,
I would like to mention, like, I hadn't noticed it in other animes, but they skip some of the time. Sometimes something important happens or something happens, but this anime skips throughout, like in some parts of the series, like it skips time real quick, which I like. It's nice. At this point, and the way they use it right here, he's unconscious and he slept through the battle, so we don't have to see the rest of the battles. They just kind of mention the important.
Yeah, they give us the cliff notes of like what happened the day before,
which I love. Is like, okay, cool, fuck yeah, I didn't have to see anybody get their ass kicked or whatever.
What would have been 10 episodes in Dragon Ball? It's just like 10 minutes in Hunter x Hunter.
Absolutely, yeah, and he wakes up. They tell him he passes. They also tell him that Killua has been disqualified
because
he killed somebody. So it turned out that his brother showed up.
Yeah,
and then like he was passing the Huntress exam.
Right. So get a Rucker, this super creepy guy in like a green suit with needles in his face that walks like a robot that we've been seeing this whole Hunter exam. When he takes the needles out of his face, he turns into like some average-looking dude with long hair and creepy dead eyes, and it turns out to be Killua's brother, Illumi.
And it's super weird. Like I mentioned to you before, it reminds me of like some sort of like acupuncture kind of technique.
Yeah, it's super
so
creepy.
Weird. Yeah,
and like
he tells him.
I want to spoil something about like this episode that you don't even learn till like way fucking later, but I won't.
Later.
Like later.
Okay,
like way down.
We'll mention that. We'll make a note.
Nen. Like this is pretty cool.
Make a note. Okay.
Because what we see is that Killua will not fight his brother because Illumi basically tells him that like me and Dad taught you not to fight somebody that you can't beat. So Killua, like all distraught, breaks down, and Illumi's being like, well, you're not acting like the assassin I trained you to be, so I guess I have to kill Gon since you're acting like such like a pussy about it.
Yeah, so
if you love Gon so much, I guess I have to kill him.
Yeah, so we learned that Killua is like just being raised to be a killer, and the fact that he's out taking the exam is that he fucked up his mom.
Oh yeah.
Fucked up his brother.
Yeah, he like stabbed his mom and his brother.
Yeah. So he fucking dips out. He dips out, does the challenge because he heard it was hard, and he gets there, and the brother's like, nah, you gotta go back. We don't like the idea of you being a hunter. You're gonna be an assassin, whatever. It's like, oh, you're not gonna do it? I'm gonna go kill Gon then. And he tricks him into murdering somebody.
Yeah, so like Killua is so distraught that he kills somebody having a different match. It's just some like old man. And that's the end of the tournament arc because Killua killed somebody in cold blood.
Yeah, so he doesn't end up passing the exam. He gets disqualified, so what that means, everybody else passes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they don't even have to fight anymore. So they all get their license. That means Hisoka, the creep boy, gets his license.
Right.
You know.
Illumi gets it. He said that he was getting it for an assassin mission.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever perks the hunter exam gave, like he needed that for a job.
Mm-hmm. And then we see that next episode we see that Gon is mad at the brother, and he questions him. He's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Why the fuck would you do that to your brother? Where is he? Has he gone?" And he learns that he goes back home.
Yeah, and then but Illumi, like once Gon leaves after yelling at him, he's like, "Wow, I need to kill Gon."
Mm-hmm.
Like he's becoming a problem, and then Hisoka's there, and he's just like, "You better
You're
not
not-
fucking touch him. That's my prey."
Yeah, very weird.
Super creepy.
Very weird. What's the next episode? Episode 22.
So basically, Gon has his new mission is to try to get Killua back, because Killua has like kind of like exiled himself back home.
Mm.
And Gon, being the righteous guy that he is, needs to go rescue his new best friend from despair at his family's house.
And I'm sorry, I want to mention, when they got their license, Gon was not comfortable using his license because he didn't think that he had earned it yet.
Right.
But then one of the examiners tells him, "Hey, don't worry, you use this whenever you're ready." And one of, I guess, his milestones, he wants to give back his tag to Hisoka.
Right.
So
and to do that, he needs to punch him in the face really hard.
Yeah. And what we learn is that, like, Hunter x Hunter's, like, free, like I said before, free hotels, free traveling, free all this, free all that. So
this whole society is just working to support the Hunter Society.
yeah. And you have these people taking a trip to, go get Killua, but they're not using any of those perks because Gon's not ready.
So,
I think that's a dick move. That's not really that pure, Gon.
It is a dick move, but, so we go to some weird-ass village that they host tours to the outside of the gate to Killua's family's mansion, because the whole village knows that there's this super rich family of assassins
They own,
living
like,
on the mountain.
the entire mountain.
Yeah, they own a whole mountain. They have a giant, like, 100-ton gate, like...
They arrive at the gate, that's right, at that part.
Yeah.
We meet Sebro.
And then what happened?
We meet Sebro. So no, they get there in this tour bus, and they come across this big old wall that is like the property. We find out the property is this big ass mountain. Apparently, these doors are like super heavy, but there's another door where people go through right next to the security office.
Right.
And then some hunters, I guess, or wannabe hunters, or some thieves.
I don't know. They were just some hater ass people.
So apparently nobody has seen Killua's family ever.
Right. So then it's funny because Leorio is like, "Oh, I could have made millions of dollars if I had just taken a picture of Killua."
Yeah. And they try to use that door, and what it turns out, that door is like a trapdoor.
It's like a trapdoor, and there's like this giant monster on the other side.
Yeah, which is Mike. So the security office is run by this old dude called Sebro, and Gon at this point is very upset at the fact that Killua is at his house in what do you call it, like something that is not true, like he's there because
he's living a false life.
Yeah.
Like Gon feels like he's learned who the real Killua is, and now Killua is back at this family mansion pretending to be somebody.
And then we find out that he's gonna torture the whole time.
So then the brother that he stabbed is some fat little nerd, and he has Killua like tied up and chained up, and he's just like
whipping his face,
just whipping the shit out of him. But like Killua is such a badass, he doesn't even care.
Yeah, and so Gon is very upset, and he tells the guard is like, call the house and tell him that I'm here to see my friend Killua. Call the house. Well, the guard ends up liking Gon, and he calls the butler's quarters.
Right.
Where we first hear the butler house, which they take care of all the calls that come in because obviously they're fucking super rich, and obviously they don't want Killua making friends because he's an assassin. He's cold blooded.
Yeah, he can't have friends. They're a liability.
He can't have friends. Yeah, and the guard ends up teaching them that door. It's so heavy, like it's a door, but you have to push it open.
Like it's thousands of tons. Like it's a 9-part door. The first door is like 10 tons. The door above that's 100
20,
tons.
yeah, 500 tons, and it goes on and on.
Yeah, so you need to be able to put out an exorbitant amount of strength just to get through the gate into the mansion.
So we see the security guard like demonstrating that, so they fucking push the door. They go through some sort of training at the beginning.
Yeah, and then we just get like an episode-long training arc of Leorio and Kurapika.
Yeah, and then
because Gon's arm's broken still.
Yes, sir. That's what I was gonna say. His arm's still broken, so he's healing. So he's been training with the one arm. He's been doing shit. This little train montage. Leorio, Kurapika. And Kurapika and Leorio end up getting strong enough.
Right.
To budge.
To barely budge open the first part of the door.
Yeah.
And then Gon takes off his cast, and then they open the door together, and it's still barely like the first part that they get open.
Oh, because the fucking monster, that if you go through that trapdoor, the monster knows that if you go through that trapdoor, that for some reason this fucking monster knows that whoever goes through that trapdoor is gonna get murdered. He gets to eat him.
Yeah.
But if somebody goes through that big heavy door, you don't get to touch him.
What was his name? Mike?
Mike.
What I thought was funny when you were describing this part to me is that, like, Mike's one of the first instances we get to see of, like, a monster. Like, an actual big monster. This is called Hunter x Hunter. It's about monster hunting, we're led to assume. This is the first time we ever see a domesticated monster or any mention of a monster.
Where we see a badass red light wolf. Pretty bad. It looks pretty badass. And yeah, like you said, it's like the first glimpse of something, like, crazy like that. And they get through this training again when they get to like the security post ends within those doors,
right?
Where everything's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
This again reminds me of like Dragon Ball with their heavy clothing.
It's like yeah, because Goku's
or like those
always
capsules.
Goku's always wearing like weighted like clothing and stuff like that as a training. Or when Vegeta's in like a gravity chamber to train in.
Yeah. And they obviously apparently everything's super heavy. Like the door to the restroom is heavy. The teacups are heavy. The chairs are heavy. You're gonna wear this weighted vest. Anyways, they get strong enough to get on their way to the butler's quarters. Correct.
Right.
This is where we meet Canary.
Yeah. So Canary's like this little orphan girl from a meteor village who's who's Killua's only friend at this mansion. And she fucks up Gon. Gon's constantly getting his ass kicked because he keeps getting in fights like he can't even defend himself in. And I don't know. She just feels so bad for him. She just lets him into the butler's mansion.
Because by this time, the message that the initial security guard Sebro puts out to the butlers is that Killua's friends, quote unquote, are coming to the house.
Right.
So everybody knows that these people are calling themselves friends of Master Killua, which is a big concern to, the servants for this facility. And like so Canary draws this line in the ground, hey, you can't pass through here, and he just beats the shit out of him. He gets mad, and it was about to tell him something about Master Killua, and then the mom knocked her out with a bullet. I thought she had died. I was like, whoa!
That part was super random and weird.
Yeah, the mom has like bandages and like a cyclops kind of
fucking she was look. Like a cyborg. I don't know what her issue is.
And yeah, she like to me first time watcher, I look at that. Oh my, whoa! She got shot in the head because that's how it looks. And oh no, she just got knocked out by like some sort of rubber bullet, I guess. And
it takes off so much narrative. Like it's just like a waste of a scene. Like it's so like annoying.
It was
to
intense.
Watch. It's like annoying to watch.
We find that Canary had made some sort of friendship with Killua, but because they're servants, they're not really about that. They're just there to serve them.
Super sad. Like you don't even have like value for your own life compared to somebody else.
And what do we see? What do we see after that?
So basically, Killua
he gets freed.
He gets freed by the grandpa. The grandpa's like the patriarch of the family, and he tells Killua to go talk to his dad, and the dad ends up being super cool to Killua and being like, oh, well, you're gonna be the future leader of this family. You're a secret prodigy, even though we know Illumi's a badass, which like I guess that sucks for him because like Killua's already the favorite. And the dad basically says like, yeah, you can go hang out with your friends and go on an adventure, and like the family of assassins.
I like what you mentioned that he looks like a steroid buff ass Killua older version.
Yeah,
exactly. He looks very mysterious and stuff. But yeah, like throughout the whole thing is like, no, Killua has to be an assassin. Killua has to be an assassin. And all nonchalant, Killua gets freed, goes to his dad. His dad's like, it's okay.
It's because it was written as a weekly shonen. So you can tell week to week when he would change his mind. He'd be like, oh, I don't actually like what I wrote this week. So we're just going to retrofit this as, like, I want to do it this week.
And he's like, okay, cool. So he ends up meeting... They're on their way to all meet at the butler's quarters.
Right.
Because Canary is taking them there, and Killua just got freed by his dad, so he's on his way to the butler's quarters. At this time, we find out that the butlers are badasses.
So we meet the head butler, Goto. And so Killua gets there before Gon, Leorio, and Kurapika get to the butler's mansion, and Killua tells Mr. Goto, like, hey, if my friends get here, come get me right away, because I'm trying to leave. And then Mr. Goto's an asshole, and he doesn't believe that these people are strong enough to be friends with Master Killua, so he basically tests them by
a coin trick.
And, like, he's such a badass that he can move his hands so quickly that he can be juggling a coin midair right in front of your face, and you can't tell which hand's grabbing the coin. And you have to guess which hand the coin.
Yep, and again, all these people look like vampires to me.
They all look like vampires. They're supposed to be creepy. They're assassins. Like the whole mountains, the whole assassin mountain's dark and not well lit.
And yeah, so this coin challenge starts getting gradually harder. He starts doing like the motions faster and faster and faster, and they end up getting to a point where like 3 butlers are involved, and they're just like, "Where's the coin? Where's the coin? Where's the coin?" But at this point, Gon has his eye fucked up, and then he cuts it, like Rocky 3 style or Rocky style.
Yeah, like how boxers will like cut their eye to relieve the swelling.
And then he sees where the coin is, and where he accepts them as Killua's friends, Master Killua's. And I like this thing that he says, because he tricks them again after they win and after Killua gets there, that he does another trick and he doesn't get it right because it was a trick. I like that he says, like, the world is teeming with tricks and tricksters. Please be careful and take care of Master Killua. I don't know. It gave me more sense of how all these people care about Master Killua instead of just fucking with him. I got more love from the butlers than I did with the family.
So then basically the real end of Season 1 ends on Episode 25, not Episode 26, since Episode 26 is just another recap episode. So Episode 25 ends with Killua and Gon deciding they need money, so they're going to enter the Heaven's Arena Tower to try to earn some money through, like, professional fighting bouts. And Kurapika and Leorio are just going to dip out and do And that's the end of Season 1 of Hunter x Hunter.
And what we learn at this point is that there's a hidden last phase of the Hunter.
Right.
You know, we learned that people are still being tested somehow. But that's it, yeah, that's it. Hunter x Hunter. 2011 animation?
It's I don't know. See, you just have to watch it as a whole. Like you would never just stop.
Be able to appreciate it just with one season.
Yeah, you could never stop at the end of Season 1 and be like, I have a complete understanding of what this anime. And because Nen is a super badass power set, like Nen feels smart. Like once you start learning about Nen in terms of the anime and the powers and the Nen types and like the abilities and how they like match up together, it feels smart. Like, you make contracts with your own like mortality to like increase your aura output, and I don't know.
And not that and it's like fluent too, because even if you are a certain type of Nen user, you can connect to more, but obviously it will have some effects on how the efficiency of the attack would be and stuff. It's so crazy. But yeah, it's badass. I'm glad me and my girlfriend like kept watching it. I'm in like episode 36.
So are you almost done? Oh, you're almost done with Season 2 then.
I think I'm done with Season 2.
So then we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it anymore because you're going to want to talk about the whole thing. If anybody wants us to talk about Season 2 of Hunter x Hunter, you have to not only nominate it for the poll, but it needs to win said poll, or we're not going to talk about it. We're ending right there. We're done.
Nerd down.
We're done. So,
are we doing Nerd Down?
Yeah, we're doing the Nerd Down. We're winding down at the end of the episode after our main discussion. So Darling in the Franxx did win. We are watching it this week. It is 24, 26 episodes, something like that. It was produced by both Studio Trigger and A1 Pictures, which I wanted to give some context before I finished this anime for the second time. I was so Darling in the Franxx is notorious for being the anime with the worst ending. It is such a good anime. It is like if they had not Game of Thrones, the end of Darling in the Franxx, it would probably be one of my favorite anime of all time.
Okay.
Right before we started recording this episode, when I was looking up like things on Darling in the Franxx, I showed you a poll I found that wants people to redo the last 4 episodes of Darling in the Franxx.
I saw that's funny.
Like, this is what people get really upset about, and the reason is because it was produced by 2 different big studios at the same time. They wrote it together because this is an anime original. This is not based on a manga.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the divides in the writing on where they wanted the show to go, because it's a slice of life with some mecha futuristic sci-fi elements in it, but it's mainly like a slice of life for these kids. And then all of a sudden, it turns into some giant Legend of the Galactic Heroes, like, space opera.
What?
Yes. Okay, so that might give you too much context while going into watching it, but I'm telling you, that's what happens, and that is, like, the stigma about Darling in the Franxx.
Hey, man, I watched Space Dandy, so...
But, I think it's funny that Darling in the Franxx won, because this is everyone's like waifu. You get what I'm saying? This is like this is like the biggest waifu on the internet is 02.
Did you check out the stocks on that waifu? The stock's big. The Pillow Waifu company.
Oh, I don't know. And so Karen wanted to watch the first episode. I've already watched the first episode, and what irks me about it, and I knew she wasn't gonna like it, is there's a lot of fan service in it. There's not like a grotesque amount of fan service compared to like High School of the Dead or something like that, but there is fan service. And you watch episode 1 of Darling in the Franxx, and it's so clear why these nerds fucking like it, because her first scene, she's naked in a river, and he's just some lonely loser that walks in this beautiful woman.
Like, yeah.
Because you see yourself in this loser, because you're just like, oh, this super pretty girl is all of a sudden just gonna become infatuated with me for no reason, and like how I taste, and like call me darling and want to suck me off, like, nerds. Like, anyways, I'm excited to watch it because I don't even think 02's best girl, to be honest, but we'll have that discussion next week, because I think the other girl's best girl, but whatever. And I don't know. I feel like we'll have a lot to talk about. I feel like that one's going to be a good discussion.
Yeah, all right. I'm excited. I haven't watched myself. I have seen that, like, in the meme community with, like, a lot of that girl that comes out there. They call them, I guess, the main girl. What's her name?
02.
Yeah, so, yeah, and then what else we got? We just finished our 10th episode. We're going for the 11th of Darling in the Franxx.
Now we're in double digits until we get to episode 100. We'll get there eventually.
Like we said, please, we have a badass giveaway. Follow us on Twitter, Between Nerds. Use the hashtag, get on the giveaway. Enter on the giveaway.
And I will post this as a tweet right now, but just don't be afraid to recommend anything to put on the poll. Because if anything, we're tired of seeing the same, like, 5 anime on every single poll. Like, just throw in the super weird things on there. Like, maybe
we'll watch them.
Yeah, maybe Aldo or me will really like them, and maybe we'll try to lobby our own poll. Honestly, I like that people are, like, sending our poll to other people when they want something. Because, like, as many eyes as we get on the poll is, like...
Yeah, it's like, just vote for something. And thank you for voting again. Like I said, 35 episodes, 35 votes, that's great. What else we get to talk about on the Nerd Down?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
To be honest, we talked about loud. We've been talking about for an hour and a half already.
So, what are we thinking for the poll?
What do you mean?
For episode 12?
Well, we're gonna ask the audience what to put on it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, stay tuned for that, and please subscribe.
Tell your friends. Tweet at us at Between Nerds. Please use the hashtag Nerds4Justice. Please email us at BetweenNerdsPodcast@gmail.com. Please follow me at Drew Elias. That's DREWALIYAS. Please follow my co-host Aldo at
Aldi's Vibes.
Spell it for me.
ALDEZVIBEZ.
I think you missed an E in Aldi.
Yes, I did miss an E.
Anyways, please like and subscribe. Thank you. This has been Between Nerds.
Thank you, nerds.
Thank you.
Goodbye.